Hello everyone, and welcome back. I'm Medic Chamberlain, and joining me is the victorious jungler. Congratulations, Kold. Great game there against Sjokz. How does it feel now that you and Unicorns are on a 5-game winning streak?
I mean, it's always great being on a winning streak. This game meant a lot to us. Not only just keeping the winning streak, but also that we are really close to Sjokz in the standings, and if we want to keep the playoffs dream alive, we needed to beat them today. So I'm just very, very happy. Like, it feels so good. Like, I can't describe how happy I am that we are winning so many games in a row. Like, it's so satisfying.
Still on playoffs, I would assume. I'm going to bring you back down to earth a little bit because you have Vitality, Fnatic, G2, and Misfits as your final 4 games. To get to playoffs, you probably need to win at least 2 or 3 of those. Is it possible for Unicorns?
I think definitely. Like, with the way we are playing right now, I think we can beat any team in the league. And that was kind of the goal of the team in the first place, that we wanted to reach this state, this kind of performance. So right now we're on a win streak against some of the lower teams, and we want to prove ourselves against the better teams in the league. So I'm just excited to play against them.
Okay, because in the first half of the split, you weren't able to win versus anyone. You say you're on a 5-game win streak now.
That's true.
What actually changed for you guys that actually means that you can win?
I mean, sometimes when you go on a lose streak, you lose a bit of confidence in your play, and you don't... Maybe you know that this is the right play, but you actually don't go for it because you're like questioning a little bit in the moment. And I think we just needed a couple wins to like get the confidence in and actually do what we do in practice, because I think in practice we have showed it's such a cliche to like say, oh, we do it in practice, blah blah blah, but you know, this is actually the truth. You need to just show it on stage, and I think that's kind of what is happening to us, that we are showing our level of play on stage.
Well, you're definitely doing it, as you say. Unicorns 5-game win streak, maybe making it to playoffs as well. Congratulations on the win today. We'll have to wait and see. We've got 2 more weeks left. We're going to hand it back across towards Sjokz and the Analyst desk. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Medic. Well, fantastic stuff there and fantastic joy on the faces of the Unicorns of Love. Player of the game also for that one, Sencux. 40% of the votes for him. The whole team is on a roll. They obviously believe that they can make it to playoffs, even with the likes of Misfits and Fnatic still on the board. We're going to discuss this in length tonight in PGL, but I just want to know, do you see the Unicorns of Love making it with that schedule?
They do have a really tough schedule, and they have to almost be the best team in the EU. But if they're already on a 5-game winning streak, why not? Why not believe in them?
Why not believe in them? And this guy, Samuel Fernandez Ford, has been showing up and again gets a player of the game vote. And then our next game, we have Misfits Gaming and H2k facing off. Now Misfits, they've had some struggles in the Spring Split so far, but yesterday they made a huge statement. They ended Fnatic's 7-game winning streak, taking a huge win in the race for playoffs. And the question that has been on our minds for a couple of weeks is Misfits a top 3 team? Are they worthy? After yesterday, what do you think, Amazing?
It's pretty tough to say, because obviously we have seen a Vitality resurgence yesterday, and we see Smittyj coming into their own. I need to see a bit more to see them as a top 3 team, but I think they're on their way.
They're on their way. So what was so impressive about their win yesterday? Did we finally see an X factor?
The Sencux factor.
Yeah, he has an X in his name.
He's definitely coming into his own for his team, and he's finally being comfortable. Obviously, we saw a lot of individual hour plays where Mikyx, for example, steals Nasher. But that Anivia did a lot of damage that game, and it's nice for Sencux to actually find an individual role within that team, because so far he has looked a bit lost, not really known what he's supposed to do. But apparently the oddball carries is something that Misfits like to rely upon. We've seen in Power of Evil, and now in Anivia's, or Sencux Anivia.
The oddball carries, they were in search of a second carry, and we also have to then praise their coach Hussein for coming up with a game plan and a draft that enables his players to step up.
Yeah, it's definitely important. You have to rely on your coach to put you in the best spot possible, and I think in his case, he found a good champion for him and it worked out.
But the big question is, can they keep it going? We need to see consistency from Misfits to get them into playoffs. They can also still contest for that first round bye, so they have to keep it going. We'll see if they can do that up against H2k today. H2k are currently at 4-9, and they are in desperate need of a win to hang on to their hopes of making playoffs. Just to set the stage, H2k coming into the week, tied with the Unicorns of Love. H2k right now, 2 wins behind the Unicorns of Love. We talk a lot about the Sjokz effect, the honeymoon effect, but whatever it may be, they need to make a change right now, and Misfits is a tough opponent. Where do you see an opening for them?
Yeah, and it's really tough to say, because when you're a bottom tier team, you're most likely not going to understand the meta on the highest level. This is why you're at the bottom of the standings. So for them, it's just maybe rekindling that emergence that they had earlier with the Sjokz effect. and thinking about what actually made them win. It was individual outplays, it was individual talent, and just finding some plays here and there.
Sjokz said, I am what this team needs to get to playoffs. Let's take a look at the matches they are playing in the last couple of weeks. Obviously now Misfits, then G2, Splyce, and Schalke as their next 3 and 4 opponents. So it's definitely not an easy schedule for them. I would say it looks pretty impossible. So they have to really make a huge statement here and beat Misfits to make it happen.
Every game counts. They have to start now. If they don't, then it's really unlikely. Yeah.
Well, we will see what happens. The race for playoffs is on, and H2K needs to win. Can they pull off the upset and take down Misfits? Here are our casters to get us into the game.
Thank you, Sjokz. Good evening. I'm Daniel Drakos here with Martin Deficio. At least one person is really excited about you, Deficio.
Or maybe it's you.
Maybe.
Who knows? We will never find out.
I feel like I'm a hero now for all the wrong reasons. We'll see if I can...
you made it to the top of Reddit. You went out a king.
Keep the professionalism up a little bit more today. But for now, let's take a look kind of at how these teams want to run the game. Because it's really interesting to me when we look at both of these squads, right? Misfits have been getting better and better. H2K have been struggling. But we did still see some good moments from them yesterday against the Unicorns of Love. I felt like they were not afraid to engage on the banner of command, even when it was so oppressive.
That's true. They were the first team to show what you can do, which is don't sit back and just lose the game. Try and actually fight. And it was successful for them. Generally, though, with H2K, it's kind of hard to find like a clear strength, despite them not having a ton of weaknesses either, because I don't feel like any team in Europe is just completely garbage. So there's always some things you can latch on to. And I think with H2K, Sheriff and Selfie, as a carry duo, if they get to late game, can win them games.
I mean, we've looked at it, and Sheriff has had some really big clutch moments, right? We look back at the Vayne game versus Fnatic in the early weeks. We look at the Xayah play that I got so excited about. I mean, he did show up when it mattered most, when their backs were against the wall. Now we just need to see if he can show up when their backs aren't against the wall, when they're not in the corner, you know? Like, can he just be good? Can he be good when they're not about to lose the game? You know, like that's the thing I want to see now. Finding that consistency, I think, is so important.
Yeah, and we want to see better early game. That was really the big problem for them last week, and even yesterday it wasn't great. And we are in this meta where a lot of teams will try and get good early game drafts and then try and get that early Baron. You can't afford to fall behind. You can't afford having to just rely on a late game outplay to win. Because Misfits, we saw it against a Fnatic, they did win that early game. They then got at least a Baron, and then the game kind of, you know, got a little bit weird, and Misfits forgot how to play in the mid to late game, but at least they got an early game advantage.
I mean, it came together, though, right? And it worked out for them. And now I want to see the consistency really for Misfits just continue to take off, right? We saw one good performance from Sencux, but we so frequently see one good performance from Sencux and then don't find that consistency. He talked a little bit about it yesterday. He feels like he's consistently getting better. And now as we get into picks and bans, I wonder, are we going to see the Anivia taken away? Will he have other picks up his sleeve that he can play so well on?
I think the main reason we saw the Anivia was just because Sion was locked in so early from Fnatic, and as we saw in the game, Anivia wall kind of counters the Sion ult, so he smacks into it.
Sion screams really loudly, a bird makes a wall, and he stops him.
There you go. So I don't think you have to ban away Anivia here in the first phase. I think there's so many really strong picks at the moment. Skarner, Galio already banned here, Camille, Ryze, and then that combination of Xayah Rakan.
Yeah, the Skarner, Camille, Ryze, very standard 3 out of 5 games yesterday. They were the bans from Red Sign. It feels like we're once again in a meta where Red Sign has to ban away everything that's OP and first pick potential, but this is interesting because this is not the first Xayah ban we've seen today, Deficio.
It's just to deny Xayah Rakan, but it's also because Xayah on her own without Rakan can still be very useful. There are other supports you compare her up with and still create a strong 2v2 lane. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Also, they saw that little outplay from Sheriff at the Nexus, and that's why they banned it.
He's 2-0 on the champion, you know, which really means a lot when you are a 4-19.
But you mentioned just before, you know, the whole when there's a lot of OPs, Red side kind of feel forced to ban 3 of them. Blue side can then also decide to ban a few to pinch it, so there's only 1 left, and then they can grab it. So in this case, Ryze is open. You ban Cassiopeia, which is one of the answers to Ryze, and you kind of signal that Misfits either needs to ban Ryze or risk giving up as a first pick.
Yeah, ban it here, but then you're giving up the Camille as well. How strong is the Camille? Where's it going to go? We saw Memento use it as a flex pick. Is still a terrifying threat on the top side of the map. It's actually going to be the
So they want to trade now. This again, what ends up happening when you have these really strong power picks is instead of you then banning, let's say the Ryze and give up a free Camille, instead you say we're going to trade. So if you take Ryze, we get 2 picks on our side. Sion is also still available in this draft.
And I feel like it physically hurts Smittyj not to take Camille there. He is the man that loves fighters. He loves the 1-3-1 champions. He has to pick for Selfie instead. He falls on his sword for his team. The question is are Misfits just immediately going to pick up the Camille here? Because it does look like they're taking some time to think about their options.
Well, I'm still thinking also with Sion, some teams really value Tristana very highly. Ezreal's been the biggest pick for Hansama, so they clearly had something completely different in mind. I think H2k will be happy with this. They ban away the champion they don't want to see faced against the Ryze in Cassiopeia. They get the Ryze without losing a lot. It's not like Sheriff has been the biggest Ezreal player in the league. So I think H2k so far are fine with this. They can still get Camille or Sion if they want to for themselves. Tahm Kench is also available if they want to play tank in bot lane.
And this really says to me that Misfits are pretty confident in what they can play and what their answers are to the powerful picks like Camille, because they banned the Zillion. We think they're going to trade for the Camille, and they're not even worried about it. Instead, they take the Ezreal and the Braum. Now H2k have opted for the Caitlyn in the early game. Normally has a little bit of early push pressure, may lose to Ezreal at that 1-item mark, but a solid pick for Sheriff, a very safe pick for Sheriff as well. And I want to see what else Misfits has up their sleeve, because Ezreal, Braum, first rotation, maybe not considered the most powerful picks in the current meta.
Not a lot of teams in Europe will do it. I think Misfits, they have been successful playing Ezreal for Hansama. And here's Sejuani coming in now. The cooks in the mid lane. What does he want to play? Azir is there. Roaming champions like Aurelion Sol and Talia. There's the Anivia once again.
Loves it, locks it down, of course. Ryze with no innate dashes outside of his ultimate. Can't get through the wall, so if he tries to extend a trade on you, pretty nice. Plus, Aurelion Sol, as much as I love it, he just snares you. Deficio, and then you stop making stars.
So one thing that Anivia also brings in this meta where a lot of players around Baron to get it for the banner of command, she's so good in these little small choke points because of her wall. So it's really difficult to engage on an Anivia team that's trying to set up Baron. Just because you know one guy's most likely going to get caught out, and he can't get out unless the flash is available. So they use it for a lot of control around mid, and then Hansama can just sit in the side lane with Mikyx. And we know Ezreal is amazing on 2 items. So Misfits are showing both yesterday and today that they really understand how to play in this new meta. Some other teams in Europe are still a little bit behind, haven't really done their homework. Hint, hint, G2 Esports. But maybe we'll see later today if they'll fix that.
A little call out there, a little personal call out as well. Jarvan now taken off, Trundle taken away. So some of the counters to the remaining tanky options for top laner have been eliminated from the option pool. Camille's still available. Tahm Kench actually going to ban out. I feel like Misfits must have an option to counter the Camille on top side, and the fact that they have not touched it at all.
They can just take Sion if they want to, and that's fine. You don't care then about Camille, because the main thing you want to avoid is Galio Camille as a combo. And Galio was banned by H2k, so Camille therefore falls down in value for some of the teams. I think grabbing Sion would make a lot of sense. You can actually create the wall for Sion to help him. So when he's engaging in, if Anivia puts the wall behind the enemy team, smack.
If you guys haven't seen the initial Sion Reddit video that someone made a while back, this is basically the core concept. As long as you put like a 30-degree angle wall, Sion can just drift, can just redirect. Could also lead to some hilariously bad team play, though.
Oh, Sjokz, what do you got for us? Oh, you're already locked in his jungler.
Yeah, this is playing with our heart.
For a moment,
Alistar.
we get the tank support in the bot lane. I think Taric could also been a choice for them against Sion specifically. But they might be scared of the amount of kiting from Ezreal and Anivia. I feel like they need some hard engage together with the Sejuani. And Smittyj top and can just go Camille if he wants to grab it here, and you can lock down Anivia or Ezreal. I think that would make a lot of sense. Or he goes for Cho'Gath or Ornn, and he's like, haha, tank v tank top. Everyone is excited.
Yeah, and playing with our hearts will be the Cho'Gath in the end. Of course, I like this matchup in general. Cho'Gath has so much built-in sustain. I feel like it's not too bad for either side, but you're right. It's just about banner of command. It's about sitting there in the top lane. Can't imagine we're going to see anything.
But we need a jungler from Misfits' side. There's been whispers about Kayn, of course. Ivor was something we saw Xerxes play before, yesterday actually. And he goes with the Jax, which is fine. I'll take it. I'll take it. A fighter for Maxlore that was buffed in this patch due to Prestige attack getting a little bit of a buff.
Genuinely a strong pick, you know. Jax, Kali Rings, Goharia, Cthulhu. Good champion.
Yeah?
Had to get it in there, dude. Had to say it at least once before we go into game.
Did you?
No, probably not. I probably could have let it go, but I'm a stubborn man, Deficio. Now let's talk about compositional strength. Early push is often kind of the big focus when we look at these compositions in terms of who can actually invade, who can actually be proactive, so who actually has the early push here in Deficio?
I think mid goes to Ryze, bot lane goes to Misfits, so it's pretty evenly matched across the board. I don't feel like one team has like 3 pushing lanes they can just completely abuse and then suddenly there's nothing you can do. One thing I want to see though is Ryze plus Alistar. I think that setup plus the amount of CC and pick potential there is could really punish Misfits. It's hard around mid lane unless Anivia is overextended. Generally though, I'm kind of waiting for 15 to 20 minutes. Start play around Baron. Both teams are set up for some strong team fights, and I think we're gonna get a game just like the one we saw between Misfits and Fnatic, back and forth fights.
That's all I want. I want something close. I want a lot of team fights, and I want to see exactly what they can do. Will we see Selfie, Sheriff show up? Will we see the Shook effect kind of return? Can he go from, you know, bringing this team up, then having some rough games, back to bringing this team up in just the space of a couple of weeks? That is what I want to find out.
Well, the true Shook effect is you make your team inconsistent, and we never know if they're great or bad, but every week is different.
Always makes it exciting. So here we go, folks. H2k versus Misfits Gaming. Can H2k make their way out of the bottom of the bracket, and can Misfits prove themselves a consistent top team? We're finding out. In the playoff race, every win matters. Misfits still can't afford to falter here.
And it's important to highlight, Drakos, that it's not just a race, you know, for locking in top 6. After Fnatic and G2 lost yesterday, it's truly also a race of number 1 and number 2. Get the bye weeks. Misfits, 7 wins on their side. G2 Esports and Fnatic are not too far ahead of them. They can still try and catch them. Of course, they also want to keep up with Splyce, who's been winning games. For once, they got a 2-0. Who could have predicted that?
I love how you're now trying to compensate for your overly praise-based interview by trashing them in a game where they're not even part of the discussion.
Listen, they got so much confidence now. Peter Dunn, he pulled me aside after the game and said, "You're not believing in the first place Splyce?" I was like, oh, calm down. Like, you win 2 games and suddenly you're the best in the world.
Now let's see if
Kasing is the best in the world.
Okay. All right, man. We get it. Kasing. Cool. Back to Misfits and H2k, the two teams who are playing League of Legends
now. Did you know Kasing was on H2k once?
Stop. Oh, man. Well, for now, he's not. It is going to be Promisq and Sheriff for the bottom side. Shook is going to go for the jungle leash. Nothing too crazy coming out yet. Talked about push a little bit. Talked a little bit about the compositions.
Yeah, what happened to League of Legends? We don't have level 1 all-ins anymore. It's been a while since I've seen a game where everyone was just fighting each other level 1. It's always like fan out, put a few defensive wards, and then just start normal.
And there's a discussion about whether or not the risk is worth it to go for something so big. Promisq takes the bat into the trade, but Deficio, we come into this game, we look at Misfits' performance yesterday, and honestly, they looked so good, and it felt like a massive performance from just everyone on the team, but I think we have to highlight one player in particular, and that is Sencux in the mid lane.
Oh, we're gonna have to wait for that one.
Wants a little bit more. Heal does go down. That's the auto. We'll walk away.
But that's gonna be all the potions gone now.
Never mind mid lane. We'll get back to it later. This is the Hans Sama Ezreal. I do not generally believe in this champion, but Hans Sama always looks so good.
I believe in Ezreal when LCK teams play it, when Hans Sama play it, and when you have to steal Baron. Those are the moments I believe in Ezreal, and we've seen it actually in the last few weeks really pay off. They take this as the first rotation, Braum Ezreal. They're like, we're gonna win bot lane now, for sure. We can play around our star AD carry, and let's be real, it's already working. 2 potions gone for Promisq. Terrible start to the laning phase for him, because he got all in when he was still level 1.
And to be fair, Ezreal generally good into a lot of these crit-based AD carries who aren't quite as strong early on. Caitlyn a little stronger than, for instance, the Tristana, but he's going to be pretty comfortably sitting at that 2-item spike that we always talk about, while Sheriff is still struggling to get to 3. Klepto making it even easier. So the fact that they're winning lane this early on is just such a boon for Misfits overall.
Now obviously, despite winning the all-in, you get a few potions, then it's still fairly even. Promisq also in this game. Inspiration second, so he went for biscuits. Generally very smart if you're against a lane where you feel like you're gonna get poked a lot. So he's still adding a bit of additional sustain for himself. Meanwhile, mid lane Drakos, as we talked about, the Ryze should get the early push. It is considered the strongest mid lane champion in the current meta. One of the big reasons is, oh my god, he absolutely loved the item changes that happened in 8.4. The fact you can go for either Abyssal Mask or Rod of Ages first, and then you can go, of course, and stack your tier, get a Seraph. There's a ton of great stats, and you do so well with that additional mana and the extra shielding you're gonna get. So Ryze, he's just very happy.
And that's probably one of the reasons we saw him banned out so much yesterday. And now I'm wondering if we look at his opposition, if we look at Sencux, what is he gonna do in this matchup? Can he keep up? Because like you said, Archangels is so good for Ryze. You can see these trades are pretty free right now for Selfie. How does Sencux actually battle this?
So he's gonna say, I will build the same, because it's also great for me. Anivia, early game he's just gonna have to accept he's gonna get pushed in and needs to just try and farm as much as he can. I wanna see Selfie leave the lane. Don't try and just sit and always play 1v1 against Sencux. Abuse the fact you have TP on your side, you have Ryze ulti, make a play in the side lane, either top or bot lane. After level 6 from Cho'Gath, you can go top and use the Feast for a kill. Or bot lane, you have the all-in of Alistar plus Caitlyn trap. Great CC, sets up a play from Selfie's side. So I really want to see H2k be the proactive team, and it's mainly the Ryze in the mid lane I want to see move. Because we know Sencux wants to just get his Rod of Ages, get his Xerath, and then just start playing team fights where he can play this zoning mid lane that's so obnoxious to deal with.
Maxlore now going to push in for a little bit more. Stun does manage to connect. Counter-Strike going to come out, not going to land on Selfie in the end. Deficio, I was just about to talk about how pre-level 6, pre-tier, Sencux is really going to struggle to clear the waves, but Maxlore very much down to help his mid laner out. Comes in just to help him push. Now you can see Sencux getting the free back. So despite not having TP, despite taking that cleanse, he does get a really nice back timing here.
Yeah, I like the wall placement. Just basically force Selfie to either walk towards the mid lane or walk all the way around the little brush near the lane here, and he couldn't really dodge out of the stun. Had to then use his flash, so that's a good way to slow down the Ryze a little bit. And of course, he can go back, also get his tiers, so yeah, both are just stacking a bunch of mana.
Yay!
Welcome to 8.4.
I mean, to be fair, for Ryze, it turns into damage, so you can't blame him too much.
Same thing for Anivia, technically, as Xerath will give him additional AP based on how much mana he does have.
Actually, indeed. Oh, Mikyx. Let's be careful here. Sheriff not going to look for the punish, though. Does have the BF sword, but maybe not quite enough damage to cut through a Braum. More concerned about the CS. And I think Deficio, when we look at it, Sencux just needs to clear waves, right? He knows he's not the roaming champion. He just wants to push mid lane.
And I want to, a little throwback here to a couple of years ago when there was a lot of Twitter analysts. They were very active during games. One of the big things they would always highlight is double tier combos and how risky it is because there's so much scaling on that side. We don't hear that anymore. It's not really a big issue. And a lot of the Twitter analysts, funny enough, actually got jobs as analysts for LCS teams, so they're no longer as active on Twitter during the games, which is also why we lost a lot.
Which is really great because people used to just the term Twitter analyst was pretty derogatory.
It used to be a bad thing,
and now all of them work for LCS teams.
Yes, it actually got a lot of people jobs because they were really active in watching League of Legends and thinking about good things. So shout out to those guys. Yes, it is a double tier combo for Misfits, but it's an Ezreal, so he's going to be really strong very soon. Don't worry. Doesn't have to wait 25 minutes before he does anything.
Yeah, and now we look across the board too, just checking in on the CS, checking in on the itemization. I'm not seeing really anything special. We already talked about mid lane, Ezreal approaching that 2-item spike slowly but surely. I'm curious to see if he goes for the Frozen Fist here.
Oh, mid lane. Gotta remember Cooks with the cleanse.
Does come out, but as you said, cleanse, pretty easy burn.
So I want to see here with H2k, because if they can't get Selfie out of the lane to go kill a side lane, they can't really snowball the Ryze unless they get a kill on Sencux. But it's so difficult to do because of his passive as well, and Sencux will just be passive in the lane. Maxlore gets an Infernal Drake, just casually grabs it because he's timing it with H2k's blue buff spawning, and Ryze grabbing a blue buff.
I mean,
okay.
You have to praise Maxlore, it's smart play, but also just feels like a bit of a misstep coming up from H2k. Really did not want to give that away to the Jax, Anivia, Ezreal, who are all going to use those extra stats very well.
Yeah, one of the reasons he can do it is because the bot lane is in their favor. Great back with their tier and Sheen for Ezreal, but still, that was too easy on the side of Misfits, and 7 minutes or 8 minutes Infernal Drake.
Yeah, you're not going to complain. Pretty nice to have, especially with the power of Second Elder if it does get to that point. And for H2k, not too far down yet, but they wouldn't mind scaling towards the late game. Now, I want to look back at yesterday a little bit because despite the fact that H2k lost, we actually saw some incredible individual performances, and I specifically want to call out Sheriff. So 637 doesn't look great. Look at the damage per minute. That is breaking the record for EU LCS Spring. That is absolutely crazy. So I do feel like if H2k can set this guy up for success, he can absolutely carry.
It's true. I think it's going to be hard for him in this game, just because he's against, first of all, a Braum, who's going to block a lot of those auto attacks that Caitlyn uses to deal all her damage effectively in teamfights. And then second of all, like, the kiting from Anivia and Ezreal, it's tough for him to reach any of them. He's going to be hitting Alphari basically all game long. I still want to see if he can do it. I think Caitlyn shine right now because it's a good laning phase, and then she's fantastic around Baron due to traps. If H2k can use that with, you know, strong mid game from a Ryze, traps from a Caitlyn, they can get an early Baron with also the Cho'Gath. But it does require them to get a little bit ahead and a little bit of control on the map. And Misfits with the Ezreal, they're not going to give it to them, easily at least.
Yeah, we can see Sjokz spending a lot of time around the mid lane. This does kind of set up what you were talking about earlier, Deficio, in terms of...
Yeah, can they kill Sencux? But he sits so far back.
I mean, he sits there and he clears the wave. That's the nature of Anivia. But is this freeing Selfie up to roam the way that you talked about earlier, where you said, hey, we need this Ryze to get out of lane, he needs to go somewhere else and snowball a different lane?
Yes, that is definitely one of the ways to do it. Force Sencux back, so Selfie gets control of the wave, and then kill the control wards. It's kind of the goal of the game for mid and jungle. Sjokz is actually staying around because there's no cleanse on Sencux. They can maybe try and kill him, but there is backup nearby. They're going
He's going to come out. Stun does manage to connect. Not going to be able to get the follow-up.
Backup is coming.
First, Sencux running. Maxlore going to go in. He will find the stun, but no follow-up damage there. Just the tanky jacks. Good bases. H2k just going to chase down a bit, but both sides going to break off the fight.
So they're trying again. Even if Sencux died the first time, passive was there. So it is easy for Misfits to react. Cleanse used by Selfie. Still no kills in this game. Don't worry. It's all about mid-games for both teams, funny enough. And everyone is happy just waiting for the first 1.5 items. And then they can start fighting each other.
And you can see Hansama knowing that the ultimate is down from the Sejuani, very comfortable to step up and poke, throw out a little bit of harass. Poked at some of the members here. For now, it's him versus the world. Mikyx does rejoin him as they try to find pressure on the top side. But Maxlore, he's a big fan of free objectives, folks.
And because H2k have not been able to do anything yet with Selfie, Maxlore felt pretty confident, just play to the side where his dual lane is. They get Infernal Drake, then they lane swap top, not to kill turret, but to secure Rift Herald. They're stunning. We might get a fight. They're on their way.
2K, both top laners have TP. Mikyx just looking to keep them away from this objective. They don't want the fight. They just want the objective. Eyes on it. H2K going to back off. Are going to give it away, but Hansama feeling a bit frisky. Alphari
go
has
for the dive. Come on, Alphari.
in. Not bloodthirsty. Not bloodthirsty, Deficio.
They're too smart. Stop being smart. Be stupid and just force fights. Right there, you could have instantly charged straight onto the enemy jungler under his turret.
This is why we don't let you shot call anymore.
It's true. I went with the Unicorns of Love approach, shot calling.
Yeah,
at least the old approach.
Yeah, they had grouping mid. That was old Unicorns of Love. You're not even keeping consistent to your own jokes.
No, but I mean, yeah, I forgot to say it was the old one. I just want to say it makes it easier to shot call if all you have to say is, can we group mid?
There you go.
The answer is always yes.
Currently, the answer is no for both of these teams, though, in this game. Selfie does continue to clear out, is stacking up. Interestingly enough, has opted to buy the Hourglass. No, rather, has the Inspiration, so he gets that one for free. Struggle to keep track always when it's on cooldown for the first 6 minutes, but
10 minutes now.
Oh,
yeah, we nerfed it hard. I don't think it's that good anymore, which is why we don't see it a lot. Which is it's good change at the fact that, of course, you can still get it, but you do have to wait 10 minutes, so it doesn't prevent a team from playing aggressive against
which
you.
is another argument for why Misfits should have dived the tower. No one has stopwatch anymore. I see what you're saying, Deficio.
Hey, that could have been a kill. But against Misfits,
but it won't be.
They don't want to kill people, and that's fine, because it's all about killing objectives in League of Legends. And minions.
I mean, kills are kind of like objectives. It's just a dragon, you want to kill a giant skeleton Cho'Gath. Whatever that skin is.
It is, dinosaur Cho'Gath?
It's Jurassic, but it's a loose interpretation of what a dinosaur is, for sure.
Same thing.
I mean, gets it.
All right, Misfits.
I mean, we're 13 minutes in. The gold is just about to
yeah.
Infernal Drake is really the only big advantage the Misfits have, but luckily they do also have the Eye of the Herald.
That's the thing.
Basically a free tower if they can set it up right.
Misfits are just playing it correct. As we talked about in the draft, they have a winning bot lane, so that's what they're playing. Drake, swap top, get Rift held. They don't have to get kills right now. They know if they can just get one turret around either mid or top lane, they use that to get river control for when Baron spawns. They use that to play around early Baron with the Anivia walls. And then, if they get the Baron, plus Ban of Command, which is coming in second for Alphari, they use that to snowball the game. It's calculated, it's the correct way to play at the moment. Maxlore is currently just controlling that top side we just talked about and is waiting for an opportunity.
Selfie's getting pushed in mid constantly. One of the big things you talked about as far as playmaking potential goes was the combination of the Alistar and the Ryze together to try to set something up, but they haven't been able to do that. Promisq has been locked in the lane phase. Now with it cleared out, he may get an opportunity to roam mid. Sjokz is lonesome. They try to find the follow-up. 3 stacks. Will they find 4? Is going to connect. Follow-up CC comes in. Maxlore now looking for the kill. Is going to immediately get knocked into Sheriff. What was Promisq? Got to keep it together. Does work out in the end as both sides back off, but Hansama, you can tell he wants more. Not going to go for it. A little bit of a mess there, but Misfits making sure that H2k know this is our vision, this is our river. You keep back under that tower.
Got a flash as well. That is controlling it. Selfie doesn't really want to just trade farm evenly with Anivia, because we know Anivia is going to shine in fights. We saw how Sencux played it yesterday. Fantastic performance on his side. Smittyj can always push, because he's Cho'Gath. Alphari will say, what can counter someone who deals a lot of magic damage? What one item could that be you could build on a tank? And then you place it in the lane where Cho'Gath is.
Yeah, but what if you don't want to take magic damage? Or you are fine, right? You can take magic damage. But what if you don't want someone else to take damage?
Yeah, exactly. I think there is an item he can build. I'm going to predict he goes for Banner of Command.
Kold.
Yes. I've been losing a lot of bets lately, so I'm going to take the safe ones now.
It's good. All right, I counter. I'm going to bet you that Cho'Gath also going to go for a Banner of Command.
That would be pretty crazy if they both did it.
Yeah, that would be weird. What would it look like if 2 minions were just fighting on the bottom side with Banner of Command?
I don't know. We'll probably never find out.
Never. Could never happen. Would never be any kind of change that would make that the right choice, right?
Well, Misfits have said Draken is alive, so we're going to swap back down to bot lane. Again, not to get a turret, but to get the objectives.
And look, to recap, they've gotten both of the last objectives for free. Rift Herald admittedly contested a little bit from H2k, but they never managed to get into the pit. Misfits, though, very picky about their dragons. Clearly not interested in this cloud nonsense.
Yeah, so because H2K's a team commit, they didn't manage to get any sort of play around the Ryze and then that Alistar. It's kind of allowed Misfits to control the game, and now they're looking for that fight.
Gage does connect onto the Cho'Gath. Immediate knockup, though. Hansama goes right into the Rupture. Could be dangerous, but does manage to make it back. 4 members strong here from Misfits. Looking to make it 5 as Anivia tries to roam down. Mikyx is going to make it out so far. Does find the ultimate. That's going to be first blood. Now following up and firing back. Could find the opportunity here. Selfie's on the front lines. Alphari does manage to land the stun to peel off. Here comes the bird, though, baby. Danish mid laners not going to make their way into this fight. Backing off in the end as it's just the 1 kill picked up. Smittyj taken down. H2k, though, with pressure on the bot.
Oh, let's see if they can do something on the turret. It's pretty low from before. Misfits around. Maxlore's back in base, so it's only 4v4. A lot of low members on Misfits' side.
I feel like they want to go for the dive, but Sencux has so much wave clear here. Not even going to be able to grab the tower. Sheriff,
the Q.
Get cheeky? Is he going to look for one more auto? Mickey there to block it. Misfits, how long are they going to hold on to this objective?
H2K can get first turret here. Yes, they lost a kill, but it's a lot of gold they get back. So suddenly both teams realizing we're getting to that mid-game part where you can start fighting each other. It's okay to go all in, and Sheriff will secure the turret for himself. Can go back now, get his Zeal item completely upgraded. Misfits can trade from mid. Looks like it. Both teams end up trading. Baron is soon alive. That means we're gonna get a lot of moves around that objective. And let's see, engage-wise, Sion ult on one side. On the other one, we got Sejuani and Alistar. So there are definitely tools on both sides to say, okay, now we're gonna fight like this. Yep, Fire jumps in.
Yeah, but look at the Rupture.
Also look at Maxlore. He's like, Alistar! Wait a minute, he has ult. So he actually just jumps in and hits the target that he can never kill, instead of just going straight for Smittyj.
I mean, despite that, they still get the kill, Deficio. They're still able to grab one. And this fight, even with Misfits looking so in control of the macro game, getting the Infernal Drake for free, getting the Rift Herald for free, this fight was very, very even. So I don't feel like Misfits have the edge we might have expected them to with such a commanding early game.
Well, I think the fact that they got the Infernal Drake, they traded turrets 1 for 1, they got the first spot on Ezreal most importantly, so he's going to get 2 items within, another minute or 2. I still think that's really good for Misfits' side. I didn't actually get to see what the Rift Herald did for them.
It's utilized mid lane.
Yeah.
Not particularly effective.
Well, they got turrets, so in the end it was worth it on their side.
But in a separate instance, but yeah, we count that.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? Up, top lane.
Back off. There's another free dragon, though.
Oh, look at Selfie. Selfie's caught out.
He's on the sideline, has to run for his life. Should be a pretty easy takedown. Crystallize does slow him up. We'll try to find the stun as well. Chain CC, baby. Alphari with the ult. That's going to be the kill onto the Ryze.
Oh, Selfie lost control of the map there. Turned off his minimap and didn't realize that he was the only one pushing on bottom side while his entire team was top lane trying to get a kill on the enemy support. Don't overextend, guys, like that. Just step away.
Not a mistake they could really afford to make, especially as we approach the 20-minute mark. Deficio, we talked about 15 to 20 minutes, a lot of opportunity for playmaking. Ezreal now approaching that 2-item spike, and I feel like this is where it gets so bad for H2K. Now we're in that point where they're like, please, Caitlyn, please, 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 get to 3 items as fast as humanly possible. But the second that Muramana is charged up, this is going to be the Hans Sama show.
And let's see, it is currently sitting on 700 bonus mana, so 50 missing. He's going to get there very, very soon. Promisq might get caught out. Nope.
A lot of these individual missteps coming in from the side of H2K. Sheriff is there to back him up, though, and take him to safety.
It's just a little bit of a miscommunication between all the lanes combined. Because Misfits are controlling one side of the map all the time, no one from H2K can make a play there alone, and they end up trying to do it anyway, and then they get caught out a little bit. But Promisq, that was fine. No harm done here. Let's see if Misfits can actually play around the early Baron. They need to get the top lane turret down ideally so they can push the wave a little bit further, but they have this Anivia plus insanely strong Ezreal. They're ready to fight in this little river near the Baron and just say, yep, whenever you move close, we're going to wall behind you and we're going to try and pick you off.
Ooh, and Hans Sama on the hunt, doesn't connect the extra Mystic shot, but Jax is there, they're waiting. Actually, no vision for the Ryze. I wonder how many members he knows are there. Misfits now setting up potentially around the Baron. Not the fastest take, but...
Oh, we got the minions here.
All right, observers, no. Ignore the tanks.
Yeah, but this is unfair. Yeah. There's a ton of other minions helping him.
That's good League of Legends right there. The team groups up to kill the big scary minion.
Meanwhile, on top side, Misfits will keep controlling around Baron, hoping someone face checks from H2K. This is a slow and steady game. This is how Misfits wants to play the game as well. And exactly why they draft this way.
Yeah, but now they get mid-pressure, and Misfits don't actually have enough members here, it looks like, and in the same position to actually contest H2K, clearing out some of this vision. Of course, H2K don't actually have a ton of vision of their own. Promisq now going to move in with Sjokz. We'll get a bit of control down, so good on H2K to at least get some vision in that jungle.
I like the roam as well, because Smittyj had to push bot lane, so he goes mid first to give them even more priority. Misfits have to respect the fact that Alphari would have to use his TP to join, so they have to give up all the control. And then H2K gets a chance to kill the control wards. And seeing as control wards are kind of the main thing you have now outside of the wards on your support, those are extremely important. And whenever they die, you have to go back, get a few new ones. You can actually never go back anymore and just be lazy and not buy enough control wards, because you really need that extra vision.
Yeah, and it's so crazy to see how just the removal of 2 consistent wards from a jungler affect how you actually play the map. Because you're right, there are so many control wards. We have seen this pretty consistently in pro play, but also just the importance of controlling vision, because how many people can really afford to take Sweeper? Right now, 2 currently on the side of H2K, 2 over the other side, but you don't see a mid laner with a blue trinket. Stay in yellow for now. They know they need the extra vision. Banner command's about to come back up. We're going to see probably the same thing in the bot lane. Deficio. So,
yes,
everyone has to build banner, right? And so I understand that. But I do like what we saw from Smittyj earlier, where he bannered, in theory, better than Alphari, and then used the pressure while Alphari spends a year trying to kill a bannered up mid to go mid. Now, admittedly, this is not great, because while I'm talking about that, Misfits have taken a top tower, have continued to extend their gold lead up to 2K. And it looks like, despite small, kind of good plays coming in from H2K, Misfits are still content to just kind of bleed their opponents out.
Yeah, small things every time. H2K invested everything to go in and kill a few wards, then they had to go back, which meant that Misfits had the advantage for at least 20 seconds, and they used that to kill top lane tower. So now we have the 2 turrets gone that we see around the Baron, which means Misfits can now enable the next step of their amazing plan of push lanes, ward up Baron, catch them at Baron, win the game. I am pretty sure that is what they wanted to do yesterday as well, and then it backfired and we got into a crazy game. Could happen in this game as well. 100% H2K.
Well, Magic Immune, that's going to be really important. Stop Sencux from just constantly clearing the wave. You can see Minion Dematerializer, though, going to be used to deny that one. Only 1 stack remaining, so if H2K can get a Baron, may be able to make something work here. Maxlore are going to be able to take down Maxlore. Not quite. A lot of damage does go in. Immediately, Promisq is going to get knocked up. Sheriff not able to get too many hits out. Does go right back into the fight, though. Smittyj is going to find a knockup. Goes in. That's the silence. Suddenly, the carries are unleashed on the back line. Still unstoppable, though. Alphari going to make it out in the end. A nice pickup goes in for H2k.
That's kind of what we were waiting for here. They're very slow and steady Misfits. Eventually, H2k will find some fight in their favor. And Smittyj getting caught out a little bit, but he's tanky.
Silence stops him from getting the knockup immediately. Sheriff is on the side. He is free hitting. No one going to be able to go any further. I mean, this is nice for H2k. They have pressure in the mid lane. Sencux can, though, still just clear this one out.
And these were the two teams yesterday that played the longest game. So, Maxlore.
Alphari trying to find the chain CC. Sjokz just going to get knocked up along with Selfie, but Sheriff is untouched. 2-item Caitlyn may not be the scariest, but he does just get to free hit every time Misfits want to step forward.
Keep seeing this. Play around mid, play around Baron. Fight each other when you can. H2k wins this one. Let's see what happens. Misfits have to focus a lot on the Alistar with ulti, so never ideal. Maxlore takes a ton of damage in return. Sjokz, nice ulti over the wall. And then a good knockup from Smittyj into silence plus feast. Hansama is gone, couldn't flash away. I like that play from H2k. Both teams have a lot of ways of actually killing a carry on their side. Either an Anivia burst combo or a feast from a Cho'Gath. Two of the examples we can use here.
And I mean, we saw yesterday what a team fight looks like for Misfits with this Anivia. When they're set up, right, they can deny just about every kind of engage option. But when the fights don't start on their term, you can see pretty easy for a Cho'Gath to get on top of a carry if Hansama is not prepared. So Misfits have to be careful, man, when they check these bushes.
And as I said before, you know, yesterday both these teams played really long games, extremely back and forth. We saw them lose Barons, defend against ban of commands, and then still, you know, get further into the late game. Sadly for H2k, they lost, but great for Misfits, they actually beat Fnatic. So we kind of look at the same in this game here. No one wants to give up Baron early, so they're just going to constantly 5-man around it. And eventually they're going to fight each other again.
While I'm not the biggest fan of Banner Command, I do like that it pretty much guarantees a Baron fight at some point in the game. Always exciting to watch.
Let's see him. Hansama might get caught here.
Is immediately just going to get taken out. Silence and dead. Hansama out of position once again. H2k set their sights on the Baron. Maxlore is alive, but they have the Cho'Gath. It's not a 50-50, but Cho'Gath doesn't have the beast.
He used it there to get the kills. Maxlore is behind the Baron pit. They need to just deny him the entrance. They're actually fighting.
For the fight, Sencux is going to take a lot of damage. The immediate silence, the follow-up is there. Alphari cannot save his carry. The egg, not enough. Rebirth, not going to come through. H2k continuing to take the advantages. Now it is all eyes on Maxlore. Can he take this one away?
They're not going to let him in the Baron pit. I think Maxlore, no, they're not going to let him in. Just
getting lower. The ward is there.
They see him.
2k. Charging it up, not going to get a chance. Nice play from Promisq. H2k will secure the Baron, and immediately they gain control of the game.
Yeah, all this setup around the Baron for Misfits actually resulted in 2 fights that went in favor of H2k instead. Great using with the 2 or 3 tanks in the front, and then they just look for the one play. This is, of course, Hansama walking past the ward, doesn't realize that he's actually going to be the target, so he doesn't look at his own character, and he could have eat over that, you know, Cho'Gath Q to obviously stay safe, but did not expect it. He ends up dying. Promisq, nice play, hiding there on the control ward, sneaks in behind, gets onto the mid laner, no kiting. And H2k playing well in the first few fights, and now it's their turn with the Baron.
Really well, and you're going to see they're going to start to break down these towers. They're going to start to extend that gold lead. And you got to praise Smittyj. He is landing his ruptures so consistently, but that is the second time Hansama has been caught out. That 0, that damage that should have been there, non-existent for Hansama when he just gets deleted at the start of a fight.
And the last dematerializer was just used by Mikyx to kill the first ban of command minion. 0
Luckily,
left.
There are no other banners.
For now, but there's still time on the Baron buff for another minion to get buffed up. Smittyj, no flash.
Could just get taken down here. Chain CC does come in. It's a tanky Cho'Gath, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. It's a slow burn here as Smittyj gets caught overextending. Will be the shutdown. Ryze now free on the bottom side. Maxlore going to contest this one. Deficio, it was going so well.
Yeah. Then you have no flash. You're Cho'Gath. You get caught in the mid lane by an Anivia wall. Then you die.
I mean, good play by Misfits.
It was.
An opportunity.
H2k, sadly, they lose about 40 seconds at least on this Baron buff. Smittyj is also the man with the banner, so he's kind of waiting for that one to be ready. And Misfits seem to weather the storm despite losing the first Baron.
It is okay, of course. I think It's easy, though, for us to fall in this trap where we feel like Baron is only good with Banner of Command, right? But we still have to remember,
it's still great. Yeah,
very easy to siege down a lot of these objectives. You can see Ryze heading top. I think unless they commit resources there, pretty likely that he can grab that one with 1 minute and 24 seconds left. Remaining members of H2K have committed to the mid lane. This is the strategy you talked about earlier. Group up mid. You got a Cho'Gath. Let's get a fight started. Caitlyn had 3 items, too, so H2K have done a really good job of getting through that kind of power trough we always talk so much about.
Yeah, I think a lot of credit to H2K for the last, like, 10 minutes they've been playing in this game. Sucks for them they lost the Drakes early on, but they got that first Baron, they held off really well. It could have been tough if Misfits were able to sit in there and use that Anivia wall, but they never allowed them to do it, so this game is still wide open. Now it comes down to executing team fights. Leandri's completed for Sencux. A lot of extra additional damage in the long fights. Everyone else staring at each other in the mid lane. Alphari's on the way. Can he ult from the side? No, he walks behind with his team. Selfie gets a free top lane turret.
He's playing very safe, not looking to take any risks. Baron empowered cannon creep, has about 30 seconds left. Hansama, though, pretty comfortable to poke. Smittyj pretty comfortable to block it, though. Gotta love the tanky front line. Their job is now to protect the more important member of the team.
Selfie is still hitting top lane, by the way.
Yeah.
No one is up there because they have to defend mid against the cannon. So this cannon is effectively forcing 5 members to sit mid. They're fighting.
Okay, he's going to get the knock-up. Maxlore going to look to chain the CC. Smittyj still on the front line. No, Sheriff untouched. Is just going to free hit onto the support. In the meantime, taken down immediately. Maxlore and Mikyx are gone. Hansama has been locked up. Alphari going to do what he can to body block. Silence has come through. Knock-up not going to connect. H2K starting to pull back, setting their sights on the mid lane instead.
There's no blade yet on Hansama. He's not dealing a lot of damage against this big Cho'Gath in the front line. And Misfits, they just don't have time to kill the 2 tanks on the side of H2K.
And you talk about how strong Hansama would be on 2 items. He spent most of the time he was on 2 items, dying in these fights, and now he's getting cut to pieces as H2K look for the dive. Selfie may have strayed a bit too far, however. Stun not going to connect, continuing to throw down damage. Crystallize is going to keep him locked in. Hansama, though, playing with so much respect, does not want to give an edge anymore to H2K. Now we're going to pull back, not going to look for the inhibitor. Slow and steady from the H2K lineup.
Yeah, everything just slowed down for Misfits when they didn't get that first Baron here. So suddenly this Ezreal, not looking very strong compared to the Caitlyn. Needs to go back and get the blade, but he's not sitting on a lot of gold just yet. And Smittyj, Sjokz, and Promisq creates a giant meat wall. And Ezreal is not designed to destroy giant meat walls very fast. So Selfie and Sheriff plus a feast is actually enough for H2K to kill the tank of Misfits first. The Jax went Warmox first. I'm not against that at all, but now Maxlore will go Trinity Force, so he's trying to add a little bit of damage on his side, but that's just going to make him die even faster in these fights. I kind of feel like he's in a tough spot because he wants to be more tanky, but then he doesn't really add a lot of damage to his team, and they clearly need the damage at the moment, so he kind of needs both tankiness and DPS.
Which is exactly where Selfie is at, right? Selfie has both tanky stats and DPS, and this is kind of the reason why we expected Ryze to be banned, Ryze to be taken away. You can see why H2K are first picking it, because, I mean, despite the 0, 1, and 3 scoreline, Selfie has been terrifying on the front line of these fights, and because they're so worried about Selfie, Sheriff is untouched, man. Sheriff just never gets any attention, any aggression here, and when he does, there's just a Cho'Gath there to silence him.
Yeah, see, that's a lot of damage.
It is, in fact, a lot of damage.
Doing his job. Also, I like the Cho'Gath a lot. I've actually preferred the Cho'Gath over the Sion whenever we've seen these matchups. Mainly because I think executing the Cho'Gath around Baron and in fights, it's a little bit easier. A lot of them tank v tank comms is again about killing the tank first, and I think Cho'Gath just adds so much value there with his feast. So far in Europe, I feel like Cho'Gath has been more successful. And in this case here, good performance from Smittyj. Top end tower going down in favor of them.
Smittyj, they keep trying to catch him out, but just don't quite have the damage to kill him fast enough. Leandri's is good, but it's still a slow burn, and Hansama without the armor pen itemization quite yet.
But look at that from Hansama. 4 control wards. I never thought I would see an AD carry by 4 control wards.
All right, now let me provide a different look as we gaze over at Sheriff. Now, this is my kind. This is the solo queue. Control wards? No, he wants to do more damage.
I mean, that's fine.
He wants to stay safe, Deficio.
They're also winning right now, so they don't need that many extra control wards. Hansama, on the other hand, he knows it's all about just putting down as many control wards as possible. He's trying to steal a Baron. Maxlore looks for another fight. Sjokz just walks away. Oh,
yeah,
flash.
Couldn't catch out the Cho'Gath. They're going to try a different target. We'll get the flash from Sjokz. And it's interesting, because you talk about H2K being ahead. This is actually only the 3rd time in the league that they've had a lead at 30 minutes. Good look, but now H2K are going to be forced to respond as Misfits have control over the pit. Baron has now respawned.
But they need to use the Anivia wall around here when H2K walks in to try and catch someone, but Sjokz is not using his dash. He's just saving it.
Ooh, fatty crit from the Caitlyn.
This is risky by Misfits. They're going to get punished.
Gonna get delivered. Nobody. Alphari's already charged, but there's no one there. It was just a bait. It was just the bait. Sheriff untouched. He's going to have to try to find a way into this fight as they do start to back off now. Alistar all alone in the front line, but Promisq is still alive as the ulti is still up. Hansama throws it ult back. Timing not quite right as H2K start to pull back. Instead, they're going to set their sights on the Baron. They've already started it. Cho'Gath has the feast.
Promisq is too low. Actually, can he hide maybe and still provide some value? H2K is still baiting around it. All of Misfits staying. It's the Baron dance.
Low mana on the Ezreal.
Promisq went back. He's returning. It's only 4v5.
Back in, trying to isolate himself. He lost all alone on the side. Sheriff's still going to hit, but he's only hitting the tanky front line. Beautiful block comes in from Mikyx. Selfie does manage to go gold, and then flash out to safety. The lockup, the knockdown. Undead Sion going to start to come through, but he just does not do enough damage. He's keeping healthy for so far, but 2 kills picked up on the side of H2K.
And that was 4v5, but once again we see some of the value from a Cho'Gath when you can burst one target right in front of you. Sheriff can sit there and deal the rest of the damage to kill the first tank. Baron is going to get started. Misfits lost that window in the mid game. That's why they picked the Ezreal, to win early, to win mid. But H2K won the first few fights around Baron. Keep winning fights now to get second Baron of the game. And this time there are 2 banners and no dematerializer.
This is exactly what they want, Deficio. Let's take a look at the fight again. Who on H2K actually made this happen?
Well, it's Selfie at first being the focus, but he gets the hourglass just in time. And meanwhile, look at all the damage from Sheriff just sitting there, just shooting. And the Smittyj with the ulti in the end to finish off that 1 kill. So all the attention was on Selfie. He didn't have to deal any damage because Sheriff was standing next to him being like, okay, I'm literally just going to close my eyes and just shoot at the first thing.
And look at this Caitlyn damage. No one can actually get into the back line to kill this Caitlyn, Deficio. The only way they can is if Caitlyn walks into them. Sencux, not enough range. Cannot get close enough to the Caitlyn. Ezreal has to leap into 3 tanks. It is impossible to kill Sheriff right now, it feels like, from the side of Misfits. What are their actual options here to get out of this deficit they suddenly find themselves? They're almost at 10k down versus H2K. I would not have expected this when we came into this game.
It should not be possible for them right now to win fights with the current items on the side of H2K, with the fact they have 10 killers in, of course, Last Whisper Caitlyn plus Cho'Gath. It is so hard. They have to try and catch them out.
Body block, Alphari gonna look to charge up. Cho'Gath on the front lines. Sheriff's still untouched though. He just gets the free hit. Suddenly Selfie on the side. It's a beautiful fight for H2K. They're gonna play it front to back. Ryze still with a little bit of a flank. Easy pickoff. Misfits. Magic falling apart before our eyes is H2K looking like a new beast, a new fighter to contend with.
It's just a composition that's struggling to win the late game fights, and H2K have been controlling everything around the big objective. That's 2 inhibs down. They got the banner already. They're going straight for the Nexus now.
Might just be able to end it here. Sheriff still free to hit. Anivia doing what she can to clear it out, but that's a magic immune minion. Immediately Sheriff gonna grab a kill. H2K, slow and steady is the start for Misfits, but when H2K show up, they explode into this game. The Barons coming together in a clean finish over Misfits.
And once again in Europe, when we think it's all figured out, everyone can just randomly lose to everyone.
Every time we want to be like, okay guys, I think this team is out of playoffs contention. They beat somebody we never expect them to beat. They come back, and that is H2K right now.
It is also the nature of best of 1, but I really gotta say it's also because so many of these European teams have been so close in terms of their overall level. So we get these back and forths here. Suddenly, you know, a draft was focused on one thing, mid-game in this case here for Misfits. They ended up losing the first few fights, and then it just falls apart. We saw they couldn't actually kill anyone. And then suddenly, H2K look way better. Keeps bouncing in these best of 1s.
And it's, I mean, there's so many moments that look so good for H2K, but at the same time, I feel like for Misfits, when Ezreal was full strength, they just had 2 back-to-back skirmishes where Hansama would just die.
Exactly. What happened in that first big fight was Cho'Gath landed a knock-up into a silence, into a feast. And that's where Misfits were supposed to have the AD carry advantage. And when that happens, you lose.
When we look and we see the 3-item Caitlyn versus the 2.5-item Ezreal, you know what's going to happen in this game, especially when there is no way to get on top of that Caitlyn. Now, I thought Sheriff, he could be a clutch player, But this time he was just the carry. The team just played around him. He was set up for success from the draft.
Yeah, I mean, credit to him for sure, but in general, I think he looked at most of these team fights and said, wow, this was really easy to play. Like,
Yeah.
I legit just had to hit whoever was right in front of me, and no one ever got close to killing me at any point in these fights.
I mean, we saw Jack sleep in. It was Alistar but out.
Yeah, I don't care
Cho'Gath
about you. Like, great peeling from the team.
Sion comes in, gets silenced. I mean, there's just no...
And Smittyj was like, okay, guys, I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. I'm going to feast now. Hit this guy. We're going to kill him. Boom, tank dead. Go take Baron. I like it.
I love it, man.
It was.
Good look.
They won the crucial fights when they had to once we got into that mid game, and that was the key thing.
I bet you most analysts, since we were talking about, you know, the Twitter analysts, I bet if you look at the start of the early game, you're like, Misfits are playing this clean, Misfits are playing this clean, they're getting every objective for free, everything's going well. Bot lane fight happens, you think maybe it's still going to go good, but the immediate turnaround on just 2 picks for H2K to get the ball rolling back in their favor was so good. Now, when we return, Mikyx is going to check in with Fnatic's head coach Dylan Falco before his team step on stage for their battle against the first place Vitality. It's the battle for first place, rather. You do not want to miss it. It's like another match of the week. We're going to be right back. H2K versus Misfits Gaming. We're just going to take it down here. Chain CC does come in. It's a tanky Cho'Gath, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. It's a slow burn here as Smittyj gets caught overextending. We're fighting. Oh, he's going to get the knock up. Maxlore going to chain the CC. Smittyj still on the front line, though. Sheriff untouched. He's just going to free hit onto the support. In the meantime, taken down immediately. Maxlore and Mikyx are gone. Selfie does manage to go gold and then flash out to safety. The lockup, the knockdown. Undead Sion going to start to come through, but he just does not do enough damage. He's keeping healthy for so far. But 2 kills picked up on the side of H2K. H2K, slow and steady is the start for Misfits, but when H2K show up, they explode into this game. The Barons coming together and a clean finish over Misfits.